Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, welcome to Genuine Me. I'm so delighted to have you here with me today. Today we're going to talk about the actual reason why you might be getting rejected over and over when you go for Qatar Airways interviews. Let's get into it. The first stage, as we all know, is the CV drop-off stage. So if you get rejected on this stage, here are the possible reasons. The first reason is the CV itself. Maybe you're portraying experience that is not actually compatible with being a flight attendant, You might be having a lot of experience, but it doesn't mean that it is necessarily what is needed for the job. I forgot to add that in the final interview, they actually ask questions related to your experience. Like, tell me of a time you resolved a conflict with a coworker or handling a complaining customer. So if you're self-employed or you haven't worked in a professional environment, then you won't make it in the first round since you have no desired experience. Remember, they mainly want customer service experience. Another reason might be your grooming and self-presentation. Make sure that when you go to the interview, you look as much as possible as a flight attendant. You look neat, your hair is tied neatly. If it's tieable, if it's hanging, make sure that it's really neat and that you look clean and very presentable as much as you can, like a flight attendant, like a Qatar Airways flight attendant, as much as possible. So yeah, help them see you in that role, help them picture it, help them. You don't want to show up there with grooming that's not proper, like an unpressed jacket or shirt, hair that's not combed, uneven hair, maybe even a large beard or a bald head. You need to have your nails clean and done as well. With scars, you need to conceal and declare. Well, that's my advice. I feel like it's best to conceal so that it increases your chances, like you can show them that you are able to conceal the scar. The company loves honesty, so if you don't declare some scars, you may get a rejection for lying to the recruiters. Conceal well, then declare the scars. Yeah. Another thing which could be hindering you from passing the first stage could be your fluency in English. Remember, this is a requirement to Qatar Airways. You have to be fluent in speaking English. So, as we all know, when you come to the first stage, you're asked a few questions, mainly one question. That is really to test your English. They want to hear your voice. They want to see your confidence. They want to see if you have good self-esteem. And maybe you're not making it because you don't seem confident in the first place and your voice sounds low. You don't sound sure. You look like you have low self-esteem. Those could be one of the reasons you're not making it. Or maybe you sound unsure. When they ask you a question and you're answering and you look like you didn't expect the question and you're only thinking now and it's taking you so long, you're unsure and all of those things. So that could be the reason why you're not making it in the first stage. Another reason could be your height. As we know as well that height is a requirement. You have to be 212 centimeters. You have to be able to reach 212 centimeters on your toes. And in this stage, they do actually test that. And I think it depends, because when I went to my first interview, they didn't. No, actually they did. They actually test you on this stage, and then they can also test this again on the coming stages. But yeah, maybe you don't reach that requirement. You can't reach the 212 centimeters mark as required, or maybe you look like you're struggling to reach it. Another really important reason could be that you're not smiling. Let me tell you something. You need to smile. You need to smile. Qatar Airways flight attendants, even if you see them on photos, they're always smiling, and it's almost as if their job is to smile. So you need to exude good energy when you're being interviewed. Like, are you doing that on your first stage when you're answering the interview question? Are you smiling? Are you exuding good energy? Do you kind of get through to them to make them feel warm, to make them see your personality? You're gentle, you're calm, you're a sweet person. So they need to be able to see this. They're also testing to see, they're also looking to see your personality here on the first stage, if you can be, fitting for this role. But other than that, one other thing they might be looking at is your teeth. as you smile or as you're talking? Are your teeth looking clean? Your smile, is it beautiful? You might be having crooked teeth and things like that. So it could be a potential reason why you're not making it if you have any issues with your teeth. But I would like to say Qatar Airways is not as strict on teeth as Emirates Airlines. So if you're not making it here because of your teeth, that means the teeth are really in bad shape. One other reason you might not be making it is because you're not giving the preferable answer to your interview question. You know, when you get there, they'll ask you one question. Maybe they're saying, why do you want this job? You might be like, I want this job because I love traveling and seeing the world and all that. That, for example, is not a preferable answer. You might be looking the part, you know, you might be looking well groomed and everything looks right, but if you say a really unpreferable answer, you might not make it, because it really matters what you, I know sometimes they say it doesn't matter what you say, but there's a thin line where it matters what you say as an answer. If you're saying you want this job because you love traveling and all of that, you're not portraying the fact that you want this job because of the actual job that because of the actual duties that you'll be doing in the job. For example, when you answer a question like this, mention that you want this job because you love customer service, because you like helping people, because 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the things that are actually required from you to do as a flight attendant. So basically, if you haven't made it past this stage, it means you don't have something that is required for the upcoming stages. Okay, next, the English test. This one is kind of straight and forward. If you didn't make it after writing the English test, it basically means you failed the English test. Or you came through as clumsy. Maybe you made a lot of mistakes even though you got the answers correct. Maybe you made a lot of mistakes and you were cancelling and your paper just looked messy. I'm just saying, that is another possibility that you might not have made it through the English test. That is another reason, because it says a lot about you that you're not focused, that you are not what. I've been hearing that the group activities stage has been removed. I'm not sure if it's in every region or it's just specific areas which they no longer do that, the group activities. But back when there were group activities, they will be looking into if you can work well with others. They're looking into your personality when you're working with others. You know, if you are a team player, because it's one of their requirements that you be a team player. Remember, when you're working this job, you'll be working with a team every single flight, and it might not even be the same people you worked with last time. So it's like you really need to learn to work with people you've just met today, just like right now at the interview. So they're looking into that, and if you don't make it through that stage, it means you maybe said something that gave them the idea that you don't work well in a team, or maybe you exuded, you know, some gestures that are like you look displeased during team activities, or something hinted them that you are not a team player, and maybe that is why you didn't make it through this stage. And another possibility could be communication skills. Maybe when you're talking with others in the team, you're not communicating well with them, you're not bringing your points through well enough for them to understand you. It's also like an English fluency thing as well. Yeah, you're not bringing your points across well. Maybe you're also not understanding other people's points well. Let's get right into the final stage. If you've made it this far, wow. But now if you don't make it through the final stage, it could be because of a few reasons. They're looking into your level of professionalism. You know, they're asking you a lot of customer service scenario questions, like they're checking your values, your moral values, your work values. You know, what would you choose to do in a tough situation? Like, would you choose yourself over your teammate, over your company, and let somebody say something rude to your company instead of taking the fault? Or like, you know, what would you do in those situations where the line is really thin and you're to blame, or something like that? So they're looking at what you would do in different situations. They basically want to know your customer service experience and all of that. So if you didn't make it through the stage, it could be because of a few reasons. One of them being you didn't give the most preferable answers to the questions that you were asked. Maybe a scenario question of what you did in the past in a specific situation. Maybe they feel like that was not the best thing to do or the right thing to do, at least according to their code of conduct in Qatar Airways. And another reason could be that they're only noticing something now on you or from you that they didn't see in the previous stages. Remember, the recruitment stages, like, you can never think that you've really made it until you've actually made it. Somebody can actually be sent back home. I think I should have said this on the CV drop-off. It might happen they see your scar right there and then. I don't think they're gonna let you go to the second stage. Maybe they see it at the scar check and then they can send you home. And maybe they see something on the final stage that they didn't see, a detail on your face, a detail on your neck, a detail on your hand. Like, maybe they're only seeing it now when they're close up in face-to-face conversation, the way you talk or something like that, something about your teeth. Like, I'm just saying, you know, it's never really over until you sign the paper. They'll always be observing you. Another possible reason could be that you're really okay, and if they could, they would take you, just that they were given a limited number and they have to let somebody go. So maybe now that the number is limited, they're gonna put all of you on the table and say, okay, let's choose 2 or 3 from these people, and then maybe you didn't make it on that note. Otherwise, maybe you would have made it. It's just because they needed to cut someone out. That is it from all the stages that I've mentioned on, like, what could be the reason that you were rejected from that stage. But other than that, it's important to note that even after the final interview, it's not really over. This is actually the point where you sign and fill in the application form, which means this is actually the real application. This is actually the start of your application. All of this that's been going on was, what can I call it, was filtering, you know. They were just filtering through to see who can actually apply. From here on, as we know, you're gonna be asked to send photos of your declared scars, if you had declared a scar, and you're gonna do medicals and send photos, maybe full body photos in business attire, whatever it is they're gonna ask you to send. So it's not really over until it's over, until they've called you in and you're going through the training. So basically, this is it from me on the reason why you might be rejected. I feel like it helps to kind of put yourself in the shoes of the recruiter when you go to the interview. Think about it, like, what could they be looking for? What's going through their head? They're looking at this and this and this. So that could be a good guiding line for you when you're preparing to go for your interview. I also want to talk about gestures. If you're throwing peace signs and using your fingers while you talk, you may bring across the wrong message, because it is not formal professional customer service etiquette to talk using your fingers while you're presenting or while you're being interviewed. You don't also want to come across as a feminine man or a masculine woman. We don't know for sure if they actually hire people who are homosexual or bisexual, or if it's against their laws. Remember, Qatar Airways is based in a Muslim country and they really value their religion. But other than that, I wish you all the best. Please do keep trying and keep reassessing yourself. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you, and please do note a few things for us, like let everybody know, what do you think from your point of view could be the reason that somebody didn't make it from a specific stage. Maybe from your experience you know something, like for me, I remember I had this scar check and they asked me how big is my scar and I said 2 centimeters, and then voila, I didn't get called out to the next stage. So I kind of felt like, okay, so a scar that is 2 centimeters is a huge problem. So maybe that's something, you know, just comment your experiences, what you think could be the reason you didn't make it at a specific stage. Help us out, help somebody out. And yeah, thank you so much. I love you, my genuine family, and See you on the next video.